In 2023, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, was dethroned, and in his place, a mystery man took the crown. Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, Gucci. Brands that everybody knows and admires, whether on Instagram, the world's biggest runways, or the most powerful presidents. Their products are everywhere, and they all have one thing in common. They are all owned by one man, Bernard Arnault. The richest man in the world, who single-handedly built the biggest luxury conglomerate in the world, LVMH. His merciless business tactics earned him the nickname Wolf in Kashmir, a cold-hearted killer that betrayed friends and exploited partners only to accomplish his ultimate goal, amassing more wealth than anybody else. Unlike his billionaire peers, he lives a secretive and secluded life. Living like a Bond villain, Arnault has achieved it all. This is the story of the richest man in the world. In life, two things are inevitable: death and taxes. Until now, successful entrepreneurs like Bernard do everything possible to avoid tax, like creating offshore companies, trusts and bank accounts. But you don't have to be a billionaire to beat your tax bill. Enter Nomad Capitalist, who literally wrote the book on how to reduce personal and corporate tax exposure through offshore strategies and more. Through completely legal, transparent and ethical ways, Nomad Capitalist assists clients with finding simple solutions for their taxes. Whether you're a startup or a multinational organization, or maybe you're a successful investor wondering, like many, about moving to tax-friendly havens, Dubai, London, Singapore, where you could be paying as little as single-digit tax rates. Nomad Capitalist encourages people and businesses to move where they are treated best, and they accompany you through each and every step. While tax advisors are renowned for charging a lot and delivering little, Nomad Capitalist truly takes the time to get to know their clients, understand their unique circumstances and offer a tailored solution. Whether it be establishing a foreign bank account, moving legally or physically abroad, getting dual citizenship. Some think they only have to move abroad, but the answer isn't just moving, but being strategic to maximize the benefit from moving. If you want to use the same strategies that big companies like LVMH use to avoid tax, Nomad Capitalist offers a premium service to assist with the complexity of moving abroad and reducing your tax. Open up a whole new world of opportunities today and click the link in the description. On March 5, 1949, Bernard is born in Roubaix, France. Bernard never has to worry about anything. While some pick apart the rubble in post-war France, he learns piano and plays tennis, the typical rich kid lifestyle. His father studied engineering at one of the country's best universities and took over his father-in-law's civil engineering company, Ferré-Savinel. For his son, he has similar plans in mind. From early on, Bernard learns about business and entrepreneurship, the importance of taking risks, and being ambitious. Hence, it comes as no surprise that he wants to study here. Only a select group are eligible to study at École Polytechnique, and he's one of them. Equipped with his diploma in engineering, he begins working for his father's company. With his excellent business acumen and, frankly, a bit of nepotism, he climbs the ranks. Despite early success, Bernard doesn't feel happy about what he has achieved so far. His entire life, he has been praised for the fortune his father had built. Bernard has had enough. He wants to step out of his father's shadow to build an even greater legacy. Since his childhood, Bernard has been fascinated by luxurious products. Chanel, Cartier, Hermès, the list of popular luxury brands goes on and on. Unlike others, he isn't deceived by class and elegance, but recognizes their insane pricing power and profit margins. Without a doubt, luxury products are the perfect bricks to build an empire. Bernard can already envision his legacy, being the king of luxury. No, king of the world. How do you build a luxury empire? There are two different ways. You could start your own business, dominate the market, and grow exponentially. A long and tedious process as you fend off competition and develop your brand. Or you could just buy all the competition. For years, Arnaud has had his eye on the luxury goods manufacturer Christian Dior.
I was looking at several ideas and I hit Christian Dior, and immediately I thought this brand has a lot of potential.
He seized the opportunity to revitalize the fashion house with the right management to transform Dior into a global luxury brand. Despite all his efforts, its owners don't sell it to him. But to every good businessman, problems are just hidden opportunities. The year is 1984. When the rest of the world enjoys Ghostbusters, Europe's entire textile industry is facing major economic difficulties. While some girls try to snag a discount on a Louis Vuitton bag, Bernard Arnault sees a much bigger opportunity. Amid the textile industry crisis, he's not just shopping for luxury goods, but entire companies. Through a friend of his, Arnaud learns about the bankrupt textile company Boussac Saint-Frère. Its assets include the department store Le Bon Marché and the retail shop Conforama. But most importantly, Christian Dior. This perfect occasion to leverage his business knowledge and get one step closer to achieving his grand vision, ruling the world of luxury. But first, he has to win a bidding process with the French government. After long negotiations and making use of his connections to local politicians and influential entrepreneurs, Arnaud convinces the council. All he has to pay is a symbolic 1 franc, with the commitment of retaining at least 12,250 of the 16,000 jobs, a promise Bernard has no intention of keeping. Boussac has many problems: sky-high debt, declining profitability, and general management issues. Without cash, the company is doomed to fail in its current state, and so Bernard Arnault gets to work. He streamlines operations and cuts costs. The sale of most divisions generates $500 million, enough money to refocus the company. But it comes at a cost. 9,000 people get laid off as branches are sold to foreign investors. In the end, Arnault strips Boussac to its core, only keeping the department store Le Bon Marché and its initial target, Christian Dior. With enough cash in his hand, he is ready to start expanding. In no time, the company generates more than $2 billion in revenue. Owning multiple fashion brands and equipped with enough money, Arnault now has some serious skin in the game. But for him, participating is not enough. He wants to win. By any standard, Bernard Arnault can be considered successful. He's increased his net worth many times over and built a powerful company. But Bernard is not easily satisfied. He wants to have it all. He wants to be the emperor of luxury. And if he has to use some frowned upon methods to get there, so be it. Stock markets in the 1980s are ruled by a special type of investors. People that are driven by greed and only care about making money. No deal is too ruthless. Nobody stands a chance against them. It's the time of corporate raiders like Carl Icahn. He is known for his insatiable bloodlust and reckless tactics.
Icahn is the man who's been changing the face of American business with his threatened or actual takeovers of dozens of companies.
Growing up in a poor neighborhood in Queens, he rises to the top and builds an empire worth billions. Make sure to check out our biography about him. A corporate raider is an investor who buys large stakes in a company with the intention of gaining significant control over it. They might take over a company and push for changes to increase profitability, or try to break up a company into smaller parts to sell them for a profit. While corporate raids seem great to greedy Wall Street bankers, they are a nightmare for entrepreneurs who fear seeing their life's work sold. But how do you protect yourself against a hostile raider? Well, Arnault comes up with an idea to help the primarily family-managed luxury brands protect their heritages. Instead of fighting raiders alone, how about joining forces to become an unassailable fortress? Arnault presents his strategy to two rivaling luxury magnates, Alain Chevalier, CEO of Moet Hennessy, and Henri Racamier, president of Louis Vuitton. Both of them worry about losing everything they've worked for to hostile raiders. After countless hours of negotiations and persuasion, groundbreaking news is announced. Louis Vuitton and Moet Hennessy will merge, creating the world's largest luxury conglomerate to date, LVMH. Most luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Dior, or Moet are relatively small and can be valued cheaply, especially since the European textile industry is heavily pressured by changing consumer preferences and globalization. Hostile raiders love this. Whenever a company is struggling, it can be acquired dirt cheap and drained for every last penny. But when combining multiple businesses and putting them under a shared holding company, they simply become too expensive for hostile takeovers, despite all their struggles. The merger, however, doesn't spell the end to Louis Vuitton's and Moet Hennessy's strategic worries. By combining forces, they may have taken care of outside threats, but what about internal conflicts? After all, they're still rivals. The two co-chairmen, Henri Racamier and Alain Chevalier, diverge heavily on strategic choices, essentially paralyzing the conglomerate. But as they say, when two quarrel, the third rejoices, and Bernard Arnault certainly rejoices. Shortly after LVMH is formed, one of the most shattering stock market crashes occurs, Black Monday of 1987.
Well, the law of gravity hit Wall Street today and financial markets around the world for that matter, as stock prices plunged even more than they did on Black Tuesday of 1929.
They're calling it the Monday Massacre, the worst drop in Wall Street history.
Within a single day, stock markets all around the world lose up to 46% of their value. Total losses are estimated at more than $1.7 trillion. But Bernard has an advantage over many others, a seemingly endless supply of money.
And as the saying goes, the time to buy is when there's blood in the streets, right?
He buys into LVMH at a bargain, secretly establishing a stake in the company. And it gets even better. Henri Racamier, the old CEO of Louis Vuitton, asks Arnault to acquire shares and mediate between the two rivaling chairmen. Bernard Arnault, the white knight in cashmere, should help return the company to a single direction. Asserting himself as the pivotal shareholder for a bright future, he gets into alliances with both parties. Time passes with no improvement in sight. Rumors start spreading behind closed doors. The public is uncertain until Bernard Arnault reveals his real intention in July 1988. The goal he had chased since the beginning. He begins purchasing stocks of LVMH whenever possible. The following months, Arnault spends billions in a tough battle for control to eventually gain 43.5% of LVMH's shares and 35% of its voting rights, becoming the company's largest shareholder. Tall walls can stop raiders outside the castle, but no wall in the world can stop a Trojan horse. In January, he is elected chairman of the executive board and kicks out the old management. The company is now confronted with a dire future. Bernard Arnault has turned companies around before, but will his massive bet work out this time? LVMH's current state is far from perfect. Arnault faces a daunting challenge: how to turn around a struggling company. The luxury industry is highly competitive, and the company's brands struggle to define themselves. After identifying all issues within LVMH, he starts selling unprofitable divisions. The company has to be lean and efficient. He eliminates layers of unnecessary management, streamlines operations, and cuts costs, restructuring the company drastically. To make LVMH globally recognized, it needs to expand beyond France. Arnault begins opening stores in every major city. Knowing about the role of marketing, he invests heavily heavily to increase visibility and desirability among all brands in the company's portfolio. Fashion magazines, billboards on Fifth Avenue, and tennis tournaments. LVMH advertisements and promotions are everywhere. People all around the globe should know about the company's glamorous products. However, Arnault doesn't neglect the most valuable asset: quality. All products hearing the LVMH name are of the highest grade possible.
To build a large business with our partners with one criteria: the best quality and the most elitist product in every line that we are selling throughout the world.
Within years, annual sales and profit are 5x'd. The share price of LVMH increases by 15x, boosting Bernard Arnault's net worth to new highs. It follows an unprecedented shopping frenzy, only beaten by trust fund girls looking to get their next Birkin bag. The wolf in cashmere seems unstoppable, a force of nature. He quietly consumes the biggest names in fashion, but one brand won't succumb so easy: Gucci. The renowned Italian leather goods manufacturer Gucci is making waves with its innovative designs and leadership. It's no wonder this arouses Arnault's interest. Following the ruthless principles he utilized for his LVMH takeover, he secretly begins buying up shares, slowly crawling up to them like a hunter on the prowl. But the ambush fails. Domenico De Sole, CEO of Gucci, is fiercely protective of the company's independence. Unlike many competitors, he does not give in and openly accuses Arnault of this creeping takeover. Arnault is not deterred easily and ups his stake from an initial 5% to more than 34%, all while insisting to be a supportive and unassertive stakeholder. Would you trust him? De Sole doesn't and proposes a deal. In exchange for board representation, Arnault would agree to stop increasing his stake any further. The French mogul refuses instantly. De Sole thinks to himself, if Arnault wants a fight, he can get one. He vigorously seeks a solution and soon discovers the answer. A loophole allows him to issue new shares only with the board's approval, cutting out shareholders like Bernard. Every time LVMH buys more shares, Gucci creates new ones to dilute his stake. The fight drags on for years, but ultimately a settlement is reached in September 2001. LVMH agrees to sell all its shares in Gucci, still walking away with a nice $700 million in profit. Despite this minor setback, LVMH rises to new highs, towering over its competitors. What happens when you reach the pinnacle of success? For Bernard Arnault, it's simple. Indulge in excess and extravagance. The rise of his luxury empire made him exorbitantly rich. Money has become an abundant treasure. Nothing is too expensive. Unlike wannabe riches showing off their prosperity, Bernard enjoys his wealth in private. His collection of high-end cars includes some of the rarest ever made by Ferrari, Bugatti, Koenigsegg and others, each worth millions. He pays millions for extravagant yachts, private islands, real estate all over the world, huge art collections, vineyards and raw wines. He sold all his private jets after the Elon Musk flight tracker debacle and only charters external aircraft, all to stay hidden from the public. Money not only buys things, but also creates unforgettable experiences, whether it's playing tennis with his favorite star, Roger Federer, or organizing lavish parties and events with Michelin chefs, famous musicians, or former presidents. Whenever an important family event arises, Arnault spares no effort and spends millions on a single evening. Despite his love for extravagant possessions, he doesn't forget about giving back to society. He donates hundreds of millions of euros to support innovative medical research, help disadvantaged families and children, and contribute to the rebuilding of the iconic Notre Dame Cathedral. Speaking of which, even at the highest echelons of wealth, competition between rival billionaires remains a game of one-upmanship, with each trying to outdo the other. After François Pinault, owner of the famous auction house Christie's, proposed to donate 100 million euros, Bernard had to assert his dominance and donate double the amount, a true silverback move. As impressive as his philanthropic efforts have been, his legacy extends far beyond charitable giving. His incredible success in the business world is undeniable, having transformed LVMH into the global luxury empire worth 460 billion it is today. With seemingly no end in sight, only one question remains. Will any company ever be able to rival the colossal monster Bernard has created?